What's it like having to write lyrics under a time constraint? Because obviously I put in an order, I pay my money, you guys kind of guarantee that it's back in a certain amount of time. Again, I don't have a creative bone in my body. I especially can't imagine being creative under a time crunch. And one of the things I most appreciated about the lyrics you wrote is like it didn't feel forced. Like, all right, I got to sneak in Gabriel's name in there. I got to sneak in Alina's name in there. It felt like, oh, this is just like a flowy song she wrote about her own family that she's kind of had meandering in the back of her mind for 6 months, right? It didn't feel like, oh, we've got 48 hours to get this song out. And I was like, quite frankly, I was shocked when I got the email delivery because I'm like, yeah, they say it's going to be done in a week. No chance. I'll find this in 2 months. So what's that process of like being creative under a time crunch?
You know, sometimes time crunches can help the creative process. Not always, but sometimes it does. But I will say, like, I do think that the details that customers want in their songs, it actually almost writes itself. So like, you know,
spoken like a true artist, not just writes itself. I'm so awesome. It just comes to me.
Well, you know, and just there's always a new way to say something too. And so, you know, like there's a new way to say, there's always a fresh way to say, I've been married to you for 10 years and I still love you and I'm still going to choose you, you know?
Right.
So you just kind of have to choose kind of an angle, like get on that page first, I would say. What angle am I going to go with? And then just nail into that, because sometimes it can be very vague as far as love songs, anniversaries and all those things. But you just kind of have to turn that twist. And I feel like as far as the time crunch, you just, I don't know, Kyle, maybe you can speak more into this, but you just kind of have to really put your brain cells together and like try to make it happen within that time frame. But really it's kind of, I feel like you just go for that angle.
I love
That's what I would say first. What would you say?
I would say, Kyle? Scott, that I appreciate you saying that, because I feel like I'm just hearing your experience. Just because I feel like this is why we've been very strategic with who we let on the roster and keeping the roster more intimate as opposed to opening it up to everybody. Because the thing that we want to be set apart from the other companies is we want to be a premium product. We want to offer professional quality songs. We don't want them to be cheesy. We want them to be heartfelt, meaningful. And I'm really proud to say that honestly, every song that we've done has delivered that. Yeah. And I think people notice that. And they notice the difference. They're like, oh, this feels like they've been working on this for a month or two, totally. Right? Like it feels like me. It's like they caught what I was wanting to say to my spouse. And so that's one of the things that we really look for is not only a professional artist, but the quality of the recording and their production strength and the way that they tell the story, because we don't want to just read the words off of the document that they submit on our site. You know, we want to create a story. And Kyle, I'm sure you can speak more to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you said something really important there, which is not to just copy paste the details and kind of make statements. I've found that the songs that move me the most aren't usually just kind of retelling of facts. You know, usually there's some kind of a narrative, something that kind of pulls you close and feels like a real story and a real conversation of, you know, maybe something somebody went through. And so some of the basics are, you know, just painting a little imagery. Even though it's a custom song, for me, I treat it the same way as I would write any other song. I don't separate the two. I take it and say, okay, well, how do we put somebody in the room right away in the first line or two? And then how do we sum up the feeling in the chorus? And if you kind of go by those things, and then you kind of treat the details almost as a bonus, you know, where you're kind of mentioning them along the way, kind of pointing to them as you drive by them, instead of like, I don't know, hopscotch across the river from detail to detail. Right. It can get a little mundane. And so, and honestly, it's a lot more fun as a writer too. It might take a little more horsepower to do that, but it's always worthwhile, because then it feels like it's not necessarily like its own genre, to use like the Christian music example, you know. In a perfect world, we want it to feel like something that's authentic that we would release on Spotify, you know, and every once in a while there's songs, you know, that come out and we're like, well, I can't say, you know, June 8th, 1967, but other than that, you know, really love this chorus. It really feels like us. And that's our goal, I think, when we're kind of going through.
So when you release my song publicly, do I get like some royalties when you guys are rich and famous? Is that how it
We'll
works?
negotiate that after we stop the recording. Yeah.
Perfect.